Welcome to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. I'm Ryan Matthews. As a grassroots organization, every policy that Farm Bureau advocates for can be traced back to farmers raising concerns on the local level. On this episode of the podcast, we're joined by American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall as we chat about the importance of the policy development process in Farm Bureau, along with the 107th American Farm Bureau Convention happening this January. Also on this episode, we'll be joined by Craig Grooms, President and CEO of Ohio's Electric Cooperative, to talk about what the winter months means for Ohio's energy system. That's all coming up after this.
At Ag Credit, we've been proudly providing support and financing for agriculture in rural Ohio for generations. As a local farmer-owned cooperative, we value our members and work to supply the best service possible while offering competitive products and solutions. Solutions that support the next generation getting started, ones that help operations grow, and others to aid with transitions. To apply online or find the location nearest you, visit us at agcredit.net. Ag Credit, committed to agriculture, committed to you.
Welcome back to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. As a grassroots organization, every priority issue on the state and national level can be tracked back to the concerns farmers are facing in their business and community. Through our policy development process, members raise awareness at the county level, and it then makes its way up to the Ohio Farm Bureau and potentially onto the American Farm Bureau level. On this episode of the podcast, we were joined by a very special guest, American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall. He'll be sharing about the importance of the policy development process, along with some insight on the 107th American Farm Bureau Convention happening this January in Anaheim, California. President Duvall, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for the invitation. I've been looking forward to spending this time with you and your listeners.
Thank you. Now, President Duvall, during your time at Farm Bureau, you have seen the policy development at every level. From your perspective, why do you think policy development is so critical to our organization?
Well, one, it gives the farmers the opportunity to have their voice heard. But the most important thing is it creates that one united voice that has developed the reputation in Washington to be the voice to listen to. And the other reason it's important is each year, annually, our grassroots, our farmers out on the farm have the opportunity to look at our policies and make sure that they're updated and current to the issues that we face. Because agriculture is a changing landscape each and every day, and doing it once a year gives us the opportunity to make sure that we have our policy in the right way and our priorities set.
It's a great perspective and a good way to look at it, right? You know, as the challenges changes, so does the policy, and making sure that farmers and ranchers, whatever issues they're having, is being spoken for.
That's right.
Now, can you walk us a little bit through the policy development process on the national level, and maybe a little bit on how the priorities outlined each year then get used throughout that following year?
Well, sure. Really and truly, we take the lead from the counties. That's where it starts, as resolutions. Usually somewhere around middle of July through the fall, our counties be sending resolutions into their state. And then most states have a state policy development committee made up of people from all around their state and all different commodities to review those resolutions and take it on to the state convention. And then out of the state convention, the national priorities and issues make their way to our December meeting, where we have policy development with all our state presidents and committee chairs to lead the conversation as to what would make it into our national convention. And, if it's a new idea, more than likely it makes it into it. If it's an idea that is already covered in policy somewhere, it may get kicked out, and we'll make the explanation of why it was kicked out, because it was already covered in another policy. And then, once we get to the national convention, it basically sets the road map for our people at the American Farm Bureau to represent with one united voice all during the year. And that's how we use it. We use those policies to guide our conversations, whether it be in Congress on a farm bill or any bill that might be coming up, or it might be at USDA or USTR, or even at the White House with the president, to represent that one united voice. And that's how we use it each and every day. It also guides our opinions and commentaries or writings that we put out across the internet for our members to be able to see, and anyone else that wants to see it. Market entails. Our policy leads all those conversations and communications that we make.
Now, zooming out for a moment, I know a lot of your year is spent on the road meeting with members, especially right now in the midst of annual meeting seasons. Are there any big issues you're hearing from farmers and ranchers across the country?
Well, of course, right now, the biggest thing on everybody's mind is the farm economy. They're coming out of the field, hopefully, have finished up their crop, getting their crop in, and a lot of them has faced very difficult weather, whether it be too dry or too wet. And then, of course, the prices that they're receiving for the commodities is very, very low. So the economy's bad, and now they'll turn and, you know, face making plans for next year and purchasing inputs that it'll take to grow that crop for next year. And we're facing extremely high input costs across the board with everything that we buy, from machinery to parts to seed to crop protection tools to fertilizer. I mean, it's all very much inflated. So that's one issue. The other one is we continue to have labor problems across agriculture. Never have enough workers, especially skilled workers that knows exactly what we need them to do and how to do it. I've had some really good conversations with Labor Secretary Shantez Dreamer, and we've had some positive movement out of this administration around discussions around how they set the wage rate, and also some positive things that's happened uh, uh, in the court system with some of the rules that were passed earlier. So labor continues to be a big focus of ours. Of course, the one big beautiful bill took care of a lot of issues that's in the farm bill, modernized a lot of it when it comes to Title One and crop uh, crop insurance. But there's a lot more in the farm bill other than that. So we got to go back and try to get a modernized farm bill that touches research and development, conservation, many other things that they haven't spoke to yet. And then, of course, everybody on their mind is trade, and they want to talk about the tariffs and damages it has done to agriculture, and not just exports but imports too. And we talked about a little bit about what was happening to the cost of everything that's coming in, and tariffs just adds the extra cost to it, and sometimes makes it more difficult to get. So those, I think, those will be the big things, and there'll be a lot of subtitles of each one of those that kind of comes up and become an issue that will be talked about this fall and in January.
Yeah, it seems like farmers are facing a lot of different pressure points right now. Right now, and especially as you said, the farm economy, is at that crisis point, and we've got to see some good things in the past year, especially around one big beautiful bill. But there's still a lot of work ahead of us. Now, as you mentioned, the national level of policy development happens at the American Farm Bureau Convention. Could you maybe share what else happens at the 107th AFBF Convention this January?
It's 3 days just packed full of stuff, and we have some great workshops. We have great reports every year about how useful the workshops are. It helps our people learn the cutting edge of technology and research that strengthens their farms, but it also gives them an opportunity to exercise their leadership skills and grow their leadership skills to become a better advocate, whether it be at the county commissioners meeting or whether it be in Congress. We depend on our grassroots to bring their voices and their stories to those critical areas to make sure that people that are setting policy, regardless of what level it's at, how it affects agriculture, how it affects their farm. So that's important. I think that we'll hear a lot of discussion around mental health with our Farm State of Mind website. We have touched many, many lives across the country. Unfortunately, this bad economy that we just talked about is putting some challenges in front of people that are having very difficult time dealing with it mentally. And whether people want to admit it or not, we all have challenges in that area, and we're trying to make sure that people understand it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay not to talk about it, and give them those avenues to be able to talk about it and find some help for themselves. We'll be talking about, I'm sure, about MAHA and have some discussions around that. And so, we're going to have some really good programs at the convention. And then, of course, all our contests are exciting to our people, whether it be the Innovative Ag Innovation Challenge, whether it be the Farm Dog of the Year, the Young Farmer Rancher Contest and Discussion Meet. There's so many things that people can be involved in. But really and truly, what's special about this convention is that last year I spent a lot of time focusing on president of county farm bureaus and how crucial their role is. This year, I've been trying to encourage the youth of our industry, of our organization, of our rural communities, to encourage them and help them grow and become part of this organization, and encouraging them to be bold and be part of the process and get those things done. And then, of course, one of my favorite things to do is the county activities that around activities of excellence. The counties that are qualified to be able to come to national convention and show off their county work. And I've always loved going down that row and talking to those county leaders that have spent a whole year and they have these pet projects that they like and do and very successful. And not only teaching or helping people in their community understand agriculture, but it also is a wonderful way to brand the Farm Bureau name in a community that might know a lot about agriculture, might not know a lot about agriculture, because we do more than just advocacy. That's our main mission, but we do a lot more than advocacy. So those are the highlights. The theme is to let me see if I can remember it all. Help me. I'm sure.
Imagine, grow, lead.
Imagine, grow, and lead. And I don't know how I could forget that because I've been saying it for months now. But that theme speaks to where we're at in agriculture, and we have to imagine what the future looks like, and we got to take the innovation and grow in our farms, but also grow in our leadership style, and then we got to utilize that and lead our industry for a brighter future. So look forward to imagining with everybody, growing with everybody, and figuring out how we're going to lead in the future with our new policy.
I love that. And it sounds like there's going to be a lot of exciting things at convention this year, especially like you mentioned, members getting to develop their leadership skills, getting some updates around policy, and also that special spotlight on empowering young leaders. Now, every year at convention, do you have a favorite thing about convention or like a favorite part that you really enjoy?
Well, to me, it's really about business and fellowship. I enjoy the fellowship, but I always look forward to the business session and getting that piece done. But this year we got a little special something that I'm excited about, and that's our last keynote speaker, who is Tim Tebow. I think everybody's going to be excited about hearing Tim. His lifestyle and his beliefs go parallel with the beliefs of farm bureaus all across this country, and I know that everybody's going to be excited to hear Tim Tebow. I've been trying to get him as a speaker for a couple, 3 years now, and we finally got it nailed down. So we're looking forward to that. But I would say the fellowship is my favorite thing, but I'm always excited about the business part too.
Zippy Duvall, president of the American Farm Bureau. President Duvall, thanks again so much for joining.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate what you're doing in Ohio, and go Buckeyes.
Thanks. And yes, as always, go Bucks.
Farming and ranching are more than just jobs. They're a way of life, and nobody understands that better than a company that's rooted in agriculture too. Nationwide was founded in 1926 by farmers with the Ohio Farm Bureau. Today, we're proud to be the official insurance and financial services provider of select state farm bureaus. We're more than just an insurance company. We're a protection company, driving agricultural efforts that matter to you. Agriculture is a rapidly changing industry. Nationwide has the solutions to help you navigate these changes. Nationwide is here for Farm Bureau members. Our commitment spans nearly a century, and will continue to serve you for years to come.
Welcome back to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. As winter begins and the temperatures outside start to drop, thermostats are usually going up. Here to talk about Ohio's energy system throughout the winter months is Craig Grooms, President and CEO of Ohio's Electric Cooperative. Craig, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, just for our listeners, can you talk a little bit about, as folks are bringing up the thermostats, what that is doing to our energy grid here in Ohio?
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that. Really, as a quick background, so Ohio's electric cooperatives are really two organizations. Two organizations, Buckeye Power. We provide the generation and transmission service to all the electric co-op members across the state. It's about 1 million people in Ohio. And then we have a statewide organization that provides various services, a lot of coordination activities with various co-ops across Ohio. But as we look into preparing for the winter, so we're already in close to mid-November. We've had a cold snap already. We're in the mode of preparing for severe cold weather. So we are winterizing our power plants to make sure they can withstand severe cold weather. But it's not just us and our power plants. It's really our entire industry across the country has certain standards that they have to meet. And in terms of winterization and preparing their power plants, preparing the overall power grid for cold weather. So pretty much all utilities have been involved in that throughout the period of November. We'll continue to do that through the balance of November. As we enter into December, that is traditionally the start of winter. And we just want to make sure we have enough power generation available and that the grid's functioning well when it does get really cold and windy and snowy. You think back a few years, we've had, polar vortexes or vortices, I should say, going back 10 years or so. We have that every few years. We had a severe one back during the Christmas weekend of 2022. And there's a general concern that as we transitioned our industry away from traditional resources like coal-fired power plants, now we have more natural gas generation. We have more weather-dependent resources. We don't have that, security of generation that we had in the past. And so, we might see natural gas disruptions, and so power plants that can't run. We may not have wind generation. We certainly have less solar generation. And so we've seen periods over the last few years where during severe cold weather, there's been load curtailments, meaning the utilities had to shut off the power because there was not enough power generation. So we're in the preparation stages to try to limit the likelihood that something like that happens in Ohio.
Now, as you mentioned, there's, a lot more variety in energy and a lot more usage throughout the state of Ohio. Is there any concern about overall reliability as we start heading into this winter?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's always a concern, right? And so it's the unexpected that we're always concerned about. We prepare for what we think is the worst, and then something unexpected happens. Power generation, there's a lot of power plants out there, but if they have an unexpected outage, that limits the amount of electricity that is available, and under the right circumstances, that can be a problem. Again, so we've had this transition to more weather-dependent resources. We have more natural gas generation. We have new data centers coming onto the system that consume a lot of electricity. and we're seeing more data centers and load growth in terms of demand, that's growing faster than I think the entry of new power plants. And so that balance is a bit of a concern. And again, it's not a concern when it's 70 degrees out, right? It's beautiful weather. If you lose power, it's not that big of a deal, but it's a big concern when it's zero out. And so we're hoping to see more generation come online over the next, let's say, 5 years to meet the new data center demand, other uses of electricity, just to make sure the grid is reliable, is stable, because that's what we care about. We care about electricity availability, reliability, especially during those periods when it's really hot or it's really cold.
Now, you mentioned a lot of right now in November and into December is preparation uh, for y'all, and just talking about the energy grid. Is there steps that energy consumers can take to better prepare for these upcoming months and making sure that their energy at home is staying reliable as well?
Yeah, I start with, if you ever see anything unusual, you should call your local electric co-op or utility. Um, there's steps that homeowners can take. We understand that they rely on us and our industry to make sure the electricity shows up to their home. They can take practical steps within the home to make sure they've done everything they can. But it's really just normal things that homeowners or renters do, right? It's making sure if you do have a power outage, you are able to withstand that for some period of time. Um, Make sure your electrical system is generally safe. We don't necessarily recommend everyone have backup power generations. I think that's expensive. And again, our job is to deliver electricity and keep it reliable and affordable. So I would say most of the responsibility falls on our industry to get the electricity to the house. Homeowners can be prepared if there are severe conditions during the winter time. There may be public appeals from the governor or from your utility asking you to reduce your use of electricity in a safe way, just to help to keep the grid reliable. But that's pretty much from a homeowner's perspective or an average consumer's perspective. It's just being aware. If you see something unusual that looks like it might be a problem with the power lines outside, call your utility. Be aware if there is severe weather, be aware that your local utility or government may ask you to lower your use of electricity just to help keep the grid reliable.
Grooms, President and CEO of Ohio Electric Cooperative. Craig, thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate the conversation.
Find previous podcasts at ohiofarmbureau.org and search podcasts.